But it's true, as the walls close in, cornered animals are often the most dangerous. I know this from shooting invasive feral hogs from my helicopter, which explains why Joy Behar now wears orange. Because wokeism is like any cult. They only increase the awfulness when they feel threatened. That's why Jim Jones led to mass suicide, and why Nirvana led to the Foo Fighters. Thank you. Fact is, as sane people leave, the leftovers congeal into something more extreme, like baked-on grease. When Pete Hegseth noted that we leave no man behind, MS Now's leftover, Lawrence O'Donnell, had this to say.
The general knows, unlike Pete Hegseth, that could have been a woman they were trying to rescue, and it might be a woman the next time.
Sorry, Larry, but Pete knew for sure the pilot was male, which is more than I could say about my thoughts on Chris Hayes. And trust me, if there's a broad, Hegseth will find her. Now, it's crazy. I wouldn't even have come up with O'Donnell's observation as a joke because it's too on the nose. But that's the thing about wokeness. It's so absurd, no one takes it as real until it becomes a campaign platform. And the lunatics go from eating paste in the arts and crafts room to turning the whole world into their asylum. Right now, there are still equity audits and race-conscious hiring. There are still states pushing gender-affirming care for minors. And you got Dems still pushing for reduced police forces as well as for banning ICE. It's worse up north. Listen to this new acronym one of the Canadian members of parliament dropped recently.
When the budget was released, I was shocked to find out that Prime Minister Carney is cutting $7 billion between Indigenous Services Canada and Crown Indigenous Relations. They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW, G2S, LGBTQIA+.
Don't laugh. She might have fallen asleep on her keyboard, woke up, and said, I can use that. But lady, can you say that again so I can write it down?
MMIW, G2S, LGBTQIA+.
I knew that sounded familiar. Now I gotta change my password to Pornhub. So why is that Canadian acronym from that creep so horrible? Because it's front-loaded with people who experience actual suffering, missing or dead girls. But then it's strapped to a train of imposters leeching off their suffering. Stolen valor, but reworked as stolen victimhood. It's far worse in schools. Listen to this Canadian professor.
I have worked with 4- and 5-year-olds in schools who have genders that their parents don't want them to have. Parents' rights have suddenly been weaponized against trans and non-binary and two-spirit youth. I want us to get really comfortable with challenging right-wing Christian patriarchy. I want to say things like, you can do work around sexual orientation and gender diversity with children of all ages. And so I want us to think about these conversations in kindergarten.
Of course you do, you sick, fat repulsive piece of I'm sorry, censors, but I'm sorry. You know, I'd ask what they're putting in the water in Canada, but clearly it's ice cream. When it should be Thorazine. Let's not forget the hot trend in Canadian healthcare. You've fallen down and you can't get up, don't send an ambulance, they'll send a hearse. So far, 76,000 Canadians have chosen euthanasia as a prescription. And it ain't just old people or people with terminal illnesses, which is why we got to keep paying attention. What happens up there happens here. Marxism and socialism are still alive and well, but they take on different names and shapes. For every Castro that croaks abroad, a Zoran shows up here. And he can't even fix my printer. This is why you can't let your issues with Trump prevent you from voting in 2026. The reason why Zoran won in New York is because 8 million people stayed home. So if you decide to do the same in 2026, you're handing power over to the people who've only gotten worse. See, woke isn't dead. It just finds a new disguise, and it slipped further into the system, which makes it a lot harder to spot. But the only thing more dangerous than a bad idea is the kind that learns how to hide. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He once got sunburned from opening the fridge. Fox News contributor Tom Shalhoub. She looks like she has the Spice Girls on her speed dial. Fox Business correspondent Madison Allworth. Unlike Liz Warren, he really does live in a tent. Host of the Loftus Party podcast, Michael Loftus. And she puts her baby to sleep by letting him watch Jesse Waters, New York Times bestselling author, Fox News contributor. Tom, first I want to congratulate you on your new job as a yacht mannequin. Yes, look at that. You're a yacht mannequin. I thought it was either that or gay parking valet for a Florida golf club, right? Oh, here, Mr. Johnson, let me get your clubs for you. Stay away from me, effeminate man.
Yeah, that's the #2 whitest outfit ever, right under a KKK robe.
Tommy, what must we be worried about? This stuff never goes away.
It never goes away, but you got to add one letter at a time. She added, she was like LGBTQQ. I mean, it's like, slow down.
Yes.
I'm glad Joe Biden's still not president. He couldn't even handle the LGBT. He was like, LBDG. Oh, damn it.
When I saw that, I thought that might have been a quote from Joe Biden.
I know. And I got a new password that has symbols and special characters in it. Mm-hmm. I think we're all over this at this point. That's why, like you said, Greg, as it shrinks, people are taking it less seriously. So people like Lawrence O'Donnell are the only ones who engage in any of this nonsense. You mentioned Zoran. Woke is only working in these small areas, like in blue cities. Mm-hmm. And he got elected. He had like 1 million votes, but there's 8 million people in the city. You don't need that many for these people to get their way. But I'm done with it. I'm completely done. I used to just put up with it, but I reject it completely now. That I was working on my home, like doing home improvement. I looked up videos, and I'm looking up this drywall video, Home Depot. Mm-hmm. And the people showing me are a black woman and her daughter. And I'm like,
that drove you crazy.
It did. I'm like, I want a dude. Get me a regular dude showing me drywall. This woman doesn't. There's the only person who
regular
regular dude. I don't need like a woman and her daughter showing me how to drywall. It's like, that. I mean, that is like out of the HR department. It's just like, I'm not going to look at it anymore. It's like, delete.
I think anybody can do drywall. Isn't it easy?
Listen, yeah, well, sometimes.
Apparently he needs a video, though, so it can't be that easy.
I was doing it myself, but I like to get a tip. If I could get a tip from some guy like, this old house
You want Mike Rowe.
Yes, Mike Rowe, that's right. And the thing is, you got to be honest.
You want a white person.
Somewhere, listen, there's like a black woman and her daughter. They're doing drywall. They open up the thing and they see the video and they're like, no thanks. Like they want a dude to tell them. They're like, thanks, but thanks for the sentiment, but I got work to do here.
You really are leaning into this character as a white. Madison, there was a lot of creepy stuff I showed there, and it can totally like depress you, like the fat professor talking to little children about sex. You don't want that thing near your kids.
No, and I think they also have a really strange pronoun where that person doesn't want pronouns. Mm-hmm. If you have a kid and you hear that this person wants to teach your kid in kindergarten, it's alarming. And you talk about why families need power and control over their children. You see stuff like this, it's like, duh, this is why. But I do think this idea of, because maybe the mainstream has come to recognize that we've gone too crazy, we need to step back, but the corners then just get crazier. And I really like what you said about the acronyms. When I heard that soundbite, I was like, I didn't know we added another Q. What am I supposed to worry about here? But like you said, the front half is about murdered women.
Yes.
Yeah, we should all be able to be like, we should care about that.
Yes.
We should care about women not being murdered. But when you add it into two Qs, a #2 plus IA, it gets lost. So we're missing out. You can't care about everything. You have to pick the things you care about. And when it's that long, you just miss the important pieces.
I think that is the real message here, Kat, that I think in that acronym, there's a group of people that are claiming somebody else's genocide. Like, there are people that are actually missing, I don't know how many, but the people on the other part of it who are just like confused are saying, I'm a victim of genocide too. She actually said victims of genocide and mentioned all of that.
Also with Lawrence O'Donnell, I can't imagine hearing about that rescue operation and how incredible it was and how amazing it was and how, oh, wow, I can't believe they did that. These men are heroes, blah, 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 and being like, oh, she said men just now, right? Like, no man left behind. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
When I watched it, I thought
too.
it was AI. I thought it was a joke. And just like you said, I thought it wasn't even really a good joke because I'm like, this is so hack. There's just no man left behind. That's fine. There's certain words you just use gender neutral. I'll use, like, if I hear a piece of gossip that's crazy, I always say girl, even if it's a guy I'm talking to. And then for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. For that blob that was talking about all the kids she knows who are trans, there are trans people. It's very rare. So if there's all these kids, you know, multiple kids who are telling you they're a gender that their parents don't want them to be, it's you.
Yeah.
It's you bringing this up. It's you saying to these, and that is just so creepy and so disgusting. And it makes me feel like when my kid goes to school, like it's scary.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to let them out. I'm going to keep them in a cage, like I keep telling my wife, which I guess is illegal. But, you know, can we show the picture of the professor again? I read that pelvic fold has its own pronoun. Look at that. I swear that pelvic fold is staring at me. It's very angry. How do you get that way? And then why would you put a tight belt above that to accentuate it? It's like you took two shapes that didn't fit and then tried to screw them together.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Remember in the first Toy Story, there was the kid that lived next door that would combine the toys in a weird way. It was terrifying. It's like somebody put Bill Gates' head on a T-Rex.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm trying to make gender fluid children in the, oh, look at my pelvic fold. You could put googly eyes on that and be a character on Sesame Street.
Exactly. She should be on H&R Puff and Stuff. That's a big callback. But like, yeah, if you actually pressed it, if you pressed her pelvic fold, her head would shoot up. She's like one of those. She's like one of those stress babies that you get at like. You squeeze her head, goes bling, bling, bling.
Are you tired of no gender neutral bathrooms? Brr, brr.
I have no problems talking about this because this thing is a monster.
Oh, and you know she's not going to track you down, right?
She eats children, I'm convinced.
This whole thing is fantastic, and I'm glad we can make the jokes about it, but we got to watch out for the whole woke movement. It is a cult. It's like a religious movement. They don't care how much money Hollywood loses or how wrong they are. They're just going to stick with it. And it's the worst kind of cult because there's no like sex or death or roll of quarters or UFOs that pick you up.
Yeah.
It's just Lawrence O'Donnell being mad at everyone.
Yeah. It is. Wokeism is the most sexless cult ever invented. The Catholics have more sex. Well, they do. I mean, they have a lot of kids.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.